Hi, I'm in my backyard just for a little change of scenery for the videos. I am making this video because I wanted you to think a little bit more about the relationship between the world and me and some of the other texts that we have been reading. And there's a few specific passages in the book that I wanted to read back to you and ask you to think about a little bit as we complete this week's work, which has a lot to do with history. So the first passage that I want to draw your attention to is on page 37. This is in the section of the book where he's talking a lot about Malcolm, and he's talking about education in history and how he is certain of who he is or isn't certain of who he is and what it means to have black skin. When he talks about Malcolm, he says, I loved Malcolm, and this is page 36. I loved Malcolm because Malcolm never lied, unlike the schools and their facade of morality, unlike the streets and their bravado, unlike the world of dreamers. I loved him because he made it plain. And then he goes ahead to talk about learning the truth of what Malcolm said and believing in Malcolm's message. Now, this is something I'm asking you to think about further this week as we look at the ballot or the bullet, and as you compare the radicalism and the kind of audacity and spirit of Malcolm to John Merritt, Harriet Jacobs, Nat Turner, David Walker, and the other figures that we've learned about so far. Abdul Rahman, forgot him, sorry. So, he says on the top of page 37, I felt the truth of what Malcolm said in the blocks I had to avoid, in the times of day when I must not be caught walking home from school, and my lack of control over my body. Perhaps I too might live free. Perhaps I too might wield the same old power that animated the ancestors, that lived in Nat Turner, Harriet Tubman, Nanny Cudjoe, Malcolm X, and speak, no, act, as though my body were my own. Now, a lot of critics have read Between the World and Me as kind of dark and negative, as somber. But I think the powerful message of Between the World and Me, although it's truly realistic, is about the redemption quality of African American culture and what it has to offer us. And I think this is a moment where, when he talks about perhaps I might be free, perhaps I too might wield the same old power that emanated from the ancestors, that animated the ancestors. And then he mentions a few that we are talking about, Nat Turner and Malcolm X. He doesn't mention the others, but his dad is a librarian at Moreland Spingarn, probably knew about John Merritt and certainly of Harriet Jacobs, David Walker, and possibly Abdul Rahman. So this reference to history, this animation of the ancestors, this power of living freely that African American history tells a story about, is one of the positive aspects of Coates talking about being at the Mecca, and of the book itself, that if you're not using an African American studies lens, you might not realize the positivity here. On page 41, he mentions Redemption Song, the Bob Marley classic, and everyone singing their own redemption song in a different color